beautiful people, grand risings, good morning, happy Thursday. I hope you all are doing well. Today this is going to be short and straight to the point. I've received a lot of questions regarding fragrance oils, pouring temps and all of that. So I just want to come on here and give you that information in real time. So not all fragrance oils are created equal. I use several different companies of fragrance oils. It just depends on the scent that I'm going for. It depends on the vibe that I'm going for. One company may not have, a mangosteen or something like that, and the next company will. What's most important to me is that the fragrance oils are natural, and you can read up on all of the fragrance oils that are sold with these different suppliers. It'll basically tell you if it's natural, if it contains phthalates. It's not going to say we are unnatural and we have chemicals in our fragrance oils. It's going to say, though, if it does not. So it'll say phthalate free, toxin free, carcinogen free, chemical free. Those are all of the things that you want to look for when you are researching and trying to find the perfect fragrance oil for your candle. So that's most important to me. It doesn't matter what company I get them from, as long as it contains the ingredients that I'm going for. In candle making, there's always going to be trends. There are always going to be different scents that are more popular in some seasons than others. And not all companies are going to offer those fragrances. So you definitely need to have more than one supplier in your back pocket, just to make sure you're able to get all your supplies, you're able to stay on trend and do your thing for whatever season you're in, or if you're trying to create a collection, just make sure you have everything that you need. So with my fragrance oils, really quick, I melt my wax to about 180 to 190 degrees. That's melted completely in my wax melting pot. After that, I pour my wax into the pouring pitcher. After it gets into the pouring pitcher, it tends to cool down pretty quickly. Once it gets to about 160 to 165 degrees, I mix in my fragrance oil. I always stir my fragrance oil for 2 minutes exactly. I'll go over, but I definitely won't go under. This has worked for me, and my oils bind really nicely. I also make sure that I'm pouring my oils into my waxes quite slowly. I don't want to go too fast and just drop it in there. I make sure that I'm pouring slowly and I'm mixing as I'm pouring. I almost had a malfunction. But I make sure that I'm mixing as I'm pouring, and I set my little timer and I mix for about 2 minutes. Well, I stir for about 2 minutes. That's important to me. Maybe different for you. That's just what I do. And then I allow that to basically cool down to about 140 to 145 degrees. And once it cools, I pour it into my candle jar. And I also pour slowly because I don't want any bubbling. I don't want any separation. I don't want any sinkholes or tunneling or frosting or any of that madness. So I make sure that I'm pouring slowly and easy, and my candles have smooth tops every time. Now, for my 5-ounce candle jars, which are these, well, they're candle tins, but they're 5 ounces. I basically use 0.5 ounces, which is 14 grams of fragrance oil in these 5-ounce tins, and that works really well. The cold scent throw and the hot scent throw is amazing. My mom always asks for these because she's like, they burn so well, and I can have the same scent in several rooms because they're so tiny. They're not overpowering. She just loves them. And I love them as well because whenever I'm going to visit maybe my in-laws or family or something like that, I can just take this with me and light it, and it just is bringing a piece of home with me. And I think my candles are completely luxury, so you can turn drab to fab with these candle tins, so Anyhow, with my 12-ounce jars, I use a fragrance load of 10%, and it's basically 1.2 ounces of fragrance oil, which is 34 grams. And also, it's perfect. I get my smooth tops. There is no fragrance sitting on top of my candles, and the cold throw and hot throw are perfect as well. So that's what I do. Also, you should note when you are purchasing your fragrance oils, there are going to be directions on the back. There are going to be details that'll basically give you, this is the flash point. We recommend that you use in between 8 and let's say 12% fragrance load in your candles. Or it'll basically say this is not for making candles, it is for making soaps, or it is for making beauty products, or whatever it's made for. So make sure when you're looking for your fragrance oil, it says that it is suitable for making candles. Essential oils are not necessarily suitable for making candles used on their own. Essential oils are meant to be diluted, which is why when you read an essential oil bottle, it'll say not to be used directly on skin. You have to mix an essential oil with a carrier oil. So most fragrance oils do contain essential oils, but they are infused with the essential oil, so they're mixed in and they're not being used on their own, which is perfectly fine. Also, you should note that some fragrances just cannot be produced naturally for candle making purposes. It's just not possible. So it may be synthetic, but there are synthetic oils on the market that don't contain the carcinogens and chemicals that are harmful to human beings. So you just have to make sure that, like I said, you're doing your research and you're reading about these fragrance oils and you're using what's best for you and your candle line. So basically, in a nutshell, to sum it all up, melt your wax to 180 to 190 degrees. Pour your wax into the pouring pitcher at 160 to 165 degrees. That's when you're going to mix in your fragrance oil. You're going to mix it for 2 minutes, and then you're going to slowly pour your wax into your candle jar after everything is mixed up for about 2 minutes. And that's about it. Again, I use a 10% fragrance load in both my candle jar and my candle tin. And the candle jar is 12 ounces, so that's 1.2 ounces of fragrance oil, or 34 grams. In my tins, I use 10% fragrance load as well. That's 0.5 ounces or 14 grams if you like to use grams. It works perfectly for me. I would definitely say do some testing, because I did in the beginning. I tested 8% fragrance load, 9% fragrance load, 10, 11, 12. 12 was too much. That's when I started to see the fragrance oil setting on the top of my candle, and that is no good. No good. Because if that happens and you send it out to a customer or you try to light it yourself, it will ignite. Like the flames burst up in your face. So you don't want to do that. Also, a good tidbit is sometimes when I'm testing out a new fragrance oil and I'm testing out percentages, I'll let the candle burn for about 2 hours, and then I'll stick my thermometer in the wax just to see, how hot it has gotten, because there is a point where, your flame could be too hot because maybe you're using too white of a wick and it's burning the fragrance completely out of the wax, or it's creating like that black nasty soot because the fragrance oil is basically burning because it's too hot. So you can definitely use a thermometer to kind of test that and see what temperature your candle is at. I did do that with a particular fragrance oil that said the flash point was 173 degrees. I used a thicker wick and a smaller wick, and I burned them both for 2 hours. The thicker wick, it just started to turn completely like black on the top of my candle wax, and when I stuck my thermometer in, it had gotten up to almost 190 degrees. But in the smaller wick, because it was burning slower and lower, it didn't reach the flash point at all. So definitely make sure you are testing and doing, you know, your due diligence with that. So hopefully this video was helpful, and if you have any more questions about fragrance oils, definitely reach out. I am personally seeing a lot of the same types of candles on the market, and so I have ventured into actually buying my fragrance oils and trying to mix them myself. I will definitely let you know how that is going. I found a really cool article on Candle Science that's kind of giving me the ins and outs on how to mix a fragrance oil, and I'll definitely share that in the description box below. Because you definitely, like, you want to be different. You want your candles to be different. You want to have your own brand presence. You want to have your own scents that are unique to your candle company. Trust me, I worked in corporate for a while, and when those retailers hear, oh, this is going to be exclusive, exclusivity wins and it sells, and they will take your product every time if you say this is going to be exclusive to your store. So keep that in mind with your own products as well. I know I kind of went off a little bit, but I mean, it's important. So again, hope this video was helpful. I'll be back with another one as soon as I possibly can, and you know, just go for it, guys. Do your testing and let me know how it works out. Thank you so much for watching my video as always, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.